Hey guys, how's it going? Let's talk about WWE releasing multiple main roster talent, including Braun Strowman, Lana, Aleister Black. I think Buddy Murphy has been released as well, Ruby Riott. Some of these people have been featured quite recently on WWE television, as recently as I think even Monday Night Raw. Some of these wrestlers have been featured on Monday Night Raw. It's insane to think about this, going back and looking at WWE over the last few weeks. Aleister Black has only just been brought back to TV. Braun Strowman was in a main event championship match less than 3 weeks ago. This is insane, guys. Like, I'll be on. Oh, let me just turn that down. I'll be honest with you guys. This is absolutely insane at the moment. WWE, either something has happened major backstage. These people are not coming to the end of their contracts, guys. These people are being fired by WWE. You know, the likes of Lana, I'd love to know what she thinks, having signed a 5-year deal with WWE a few years ago and then putting her through absolute hell earlier on this year, and then pulling the rug from underneath her when she finally got a bit of a push and got to see a little bit of the limelight. You know, I'd love to know what she thinks about all of these situations. But, you know, most of these wrestlers, as I say in the headline, guys, you don't have to worry about these wrestlers here. You don't have to worry about WWE wrestlers being released. And you can say what you want if you're an AEW fan and say that you don't want to see AEW just signing up WWE fans, WWE ex-wrestlers. But these are young talent, guys. These are talent within WWE that, in my opinion, are very, very, very high-level talent. Some of these are, and they could easily walk onto any of the other TV's programs, any of the other companies' TV programs, and, you know, be seen as stars. I'll give you a perfect example. Look at Big Cass in Impact Wrestling. Take one look at him now and see everything that Impact has done with him over the last couple of months, and tell me that Big Cass is not much better off now that he's in a different company, is being looked after by WWE, by a different company outside of WWE. And, you know, as regards to a company like WWE, who is supposed to be this amazing company, who can't actually at any point seem to take care of anything that they, you know, are really doing. And for anyone asking, because somebody's asked in the chat, who's been released? No, it's not Jeff Hardy. I don't think, you know, you can only hope that Jeff Hardy gets released out of his WWE contract. In fact, let me just get a full rundown, so I'm not giving you any rundown. Yeah, and my live was about 4 hours before that, Hilda, you know, so I'll wait for you to watch my live, yeah? Seeing as you're bringing up what has been posted on YouTube or not. But yeah, anyway, I've been busy anyway, guys. I was live earlier on today, and I thought, oh, you know, I'll take a bit of a break, and then I've come back to YouTube, and then this is all kicked off with WWE. I wasn't even planning on doing any more wrestling today. But, you know, here we are now. This is a serious matter, like, as in, if you're a WWE fan or, you know, apologist, I'm going to call them, and somebody who would argue the point of a WWE case, maybe WWE not falling apart, etc. You have to be able to understand what we're actually seeing on television is not good. You have to understand that what we're seeing as part of, hold on guys, as part of WWE is stuff that the fans don't necessarily want to see. And now it's all come to this point here, which is they've released 2 people in this group of people that they openly chose to pull the rug from underneath them. Lana and Buddy Murphy were doing just fine in their gimmicks before WWE decided to A, pull the rug from underneath them and stop them with the push that they've been given, and B, they also took these wrestlers and, you know, basically made nothing of them and then threw them in the bin. That's what this comes across as. I mean, let's be honest, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Lana, Ruby Riott, these are not people who we barely get to see. These are people that have been on WWE TV for quite some time now. And I'll be perfectly honest, there is an issue with WWE when it comes to the formatting of their shows. If they can't get it together, how do they expect their wrestlers to get it together? And where do they go from here? How do you replace, and who do you replace multiple main roster trained talent? Who do you replace them with? They're going to finally now give Jeff Hardy a push now after they buried him for the last 4 months? I'll be honest, I've been saying for a little bit of time now, short amount of time, guys. I don't know how strong this WWE roster really is. Across the 3 brands, WWE's got one hell of a roster that go across the 3 brands. But unless you're breaking up the roster and stopping the brand split and going to, all of the 3 companies are now one, all of the 3 shows are now one, I don't see where this is going to go. There's not enough star power in WWE. And don't give me the talk about budget cuts, etc. I don't think that this is to do with budget cuts, guys. I really don't think this is to do with budget cuts. I actually think this might be to do with more than that. I think this is to do with something more than that, guys. Like, I think this is to do with maybe some people backstage have complained or they've said something and WWE have just said, right, well, you know what, basically the Eric Bischoff 1999 thing. I think WWE may have asked who, I keep pressing that button by an accident because I need to keep checking to make sure that we are still live. But yeah, WWE may have asked the question of, if anyone wants to leave, or give the ultimatum to these wrestlers. If anyone wants to leave, you can leave now. And I think that some wrestlers have probably chose to leave. But the word released is a concern to me. That says that WWE isn't willing to give these wrestlers an opportunity. I mean, Braun Strowman, for instance, he was just literally in a championship match not but 2-3 weeks ago. What on earth happened with him that's got him to the point where he now doesn't have a job in WWE? But yeah, I'm just looking up online now, guys, to see if I can find anything more about the releases and the people that have been released. Like I say, the main people that I've been told about so far is not Jeff Hardy. Why am I even saying that? People are going to get the idea that Jeff Hardy's now been released from WWE. The main people that I have been told have been released from WWE, guys, is actually Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Ruby Riott, Lana, Buddy Murphy, and then there's other people that have been released from further down the card as well. I'm just trying to get it up on my phone now, guys, but it's not the most easiest thing to do at the moment while I'm live. Oh, someone's playing music outside like an idiot again. Right, I'm just going to... Someone's playing music outside, guys. Just bear with me. Sorry about that, guys. Some idiot in a white van was just playing the fucking radio across the road, like literally right outside of my flat. Oh my word. Yeah, he's gone now. He's just drove off now. I just literally leant out the window and then I said, listen, turn that fucking shit down now. But yeah, once again, guys. So yeah, also There is Santana Garrett has been released from WWE. Is there anybody else of note? So Lana, Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Ruby Riott, Buddy Murphy, Santana Garrett. Is there anybody else? And that's it. So yeah, Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Lana, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett. Wow. And do you know what the weirdest thing, guys, is this? There is so many people that are in WWE that I wouldn't even consider anywhere near these characters on the show. Like, some of the characters in WWE have been portrayed nowhere near Braun Strowman, and they're still with the company. There must have been an incident backstage, guys. That's all I can think of. There must have been an ultimatum placed to these wrestlers, and they've just asked, if you don't want to be here, then leave. And they must have just said, right, I'll leave. Because most of these guys that have been released have all got girlfriends that are in different companies, etc. You know, partners that are in different companies. Lana's got Rusev, who's in AEW. Braun Strowman, it goes out with Camille. She's in NWA. He'd be a great opponent for Nick Aldis going forward. But yeah, for those that are unaware, WWE has released multiple wrestlers today. They're obviously falling apart. Right. Let me check out the chat. Shout out to King Puma. Don't know who that is. Shout out to Hilda DC. Shout out to Proud Mummy Sarah. Shout out to Chels Lorraine in the chat. I don't know who that King Puma is. Must be someone new here. Shout out to you. What did I miss, Hilda? I've been all good, Chels, thank you. So I'm just reading up here, guys. They say this is a mutual agreement between the wrestlers and the company. They've been fired. Like, they've obviously been given an ultimatum in the background. Wow. WWE, man. Fucking hell. What do they think that this is? I'm just looking at the current WWE roster now, guys, and I'm seeing so many people that are on this roster that I would say are not as good as these wrestlers. But yeah, that's about as far as it goes. There's no other information. What's the difference between WWE and WWF? One letter and about 20 years of ultimate bullshit and crap wrestling that people are starting to not like. No, in all seriousness, the difference between WWE and WWF is nothing. It's just the name. They were forced to change their name years ago because of the World Wildlife Fund, and it just became WWE. It's the same company. It's the same people. It's the same people that own the company, Vince McMahon and his family. So, you know, that's about it. But I'm fed up with WWE now. It's bullshit. And I have to be real here and say that WWE this is supposed to be, look at the screen, guys, they're now and forever. But how is it supposed to be forever? They're ruining people's careers. These people will just go to different wrestling companies and they will just have better wrestling careers. And AEW is literally breathing down WWE's neck right now. And this is what WWE respond with. There must have been something that took place backstage that WWE is not trying to let out. Something must have taken place. She said, what is the difference between WWE and WWF? Man, like 20 years of bad wrestling and nothing that's worth anything. WWF was quality wrestling back in the day. WWE is just a fucking joke now, and it is. It's embarrassing. And you know what? I kind of get Lana. I kind of get Murphy. They weren't using these people. But Braun Strowman, man. What does WWE think he's going to do? He's going to walk onto some other wrestling program and he's going to become a star. This is like WCW and WWF all over again. WWE losing their shit backstage because they think it's to do with the wrestlers. It's not to do with the wrestlers, WWE. It's your bad booking, your bad programming, it's your bad storylines, like, you know, making out that Rey Mysterio lost his eye. All this crap has now come back where we are, as the fans, we don't want to watch it no more. And now I'm starting to do more lives and less of these update videos. To be truthful, I'm only watching WWE at this point because it's of YouTube. There's no other reason. I don't like it. I'm not entertained by it. There are some things that are half decent that I can watch and tolerate. But they are surrounded by a cesspool of ultimate crap, garbage, and just nonsense that WWE doesn't seem to understand. We don't want that. We don't want that no more. Some of the biggest stars are on the third show. Like Cross and Finn Balor are on the third show. What's that all about? WWE has 7 hours of TV a week, and at least 5.5 of them are poor. 1 hour is watchable but still not great, and then maybe 30 minutes of all that is actually half decent. None of it's good. It's got to the point where I can sit here screaming and shouting about WWE all day. But these decisions here are disgusting. And I mean disgusting. To have these wrestlers in their company that are giving their lives and their body, that actually stood by this company when the company was at its lowest point last year, to release some of these people is disgusting. There are wrestlers that do not deserve to be in WWE. I said this as part of my NXT review earlier on. There are wrestlers that are in NXT that are too small, that are not big enough, they're not strong enough. Oh, man. Aleister Black, like, what the hell? So they bring him back to TV, they put him on television, they start to push him, they have him attack Big E, and then we're never going to see him never going to see him again. It's fucking ridiculous. This is absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. No, that's the problem, Chels. The wrestling, you can't argue with it. Because it's nowhere near as sloppy as it used to be. It's obviously more entertaining, and these guys are... The wrestling's become secondary because it's easy now. They're not hurting each other with barbed wire and that kind of stuff no more. Well, some of them are, but some of them are not doing that anymore. They're not going through tables all the time. They're not doing that, you know, trash TV wrestling anymore. So the wrestling's pretty easy. Headlocks, arm locks, suplexes. But it's gone way, way, way too far where wrestlers the word is sell. They don't sell properly. They kick out of moves that they should never kick out of. And now we've got to the point where nobody cares about, you know, the fundamental safety of some of these wrestlers. It's all about, oh, well, this guy can do a backflip. And yeah, but make sense of that backflip. Because if I'm a 300-pound man, you're not going to do a backflip while you're in the ring with me. I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to slam you onto your head. And then we'll see about your flippy and divey bullshit. These people need to get real. And it's WWE that's encouraging these idiots to think that they're going to be stars and they're not. Look at this. What chance does these stars that are 5'6", that are, you know, 135, 40 pounds. What chance do these guys have when they're releasing Braun Strowman, a 7-foot giant who's like 400 pounds of muscle? What the fuck? WWE, honestly, man, embarrassing. And this is a travesty to the people that are supposed to be fans of this supposed sport, because it's no longer a sport, is it? It's just a show that people, they don't care about admitting that it's fake, and they don't care about admitting that it's scripted, and they don't care about any of that. And we've accepted all of this. But to basically shit down our throats and say, oh, we don't care about the fans of WWE. We don't care about the fans. And these are the same idiots that will talk about AEW like we can't see what we can see. You've got a 62-year-old man who is lighting the crowd to pieces, a certified legend of wrestling, who was told by WWE that he would never wrestle again. Tell me what the hell that is all about. What are they afraid of in this company? What does this badge even symbolize? Because it certainly doesn't symbolize wrestling. Because this is no longer just wrestling anymore. It's politicking and nonsense that has now gripped the lives of multiple men and ruined the lives of multiple men and women, and it has to stop. Why hire these people in the first place if you can't actually portray them in the way that they deserve to be portrayed? I'm not saying that Braun Strowman should be the world heavyweight champion. I'm not saying that Lana should be treated any way different than she was. I'm just saying, hold on a second. Could these people not just see out their contracts? Why have they been released before they even need to be released? And then you look at it and you say, who do we turn to now? Braun Strowman, whether people like him or not, was a certified star of the WWE Raw roster, yeah? Aleister Black was a certified star of the WWE SmackDown roster. Ruby Riott was a certified female star of the SmackDown roster, and Lana was a certified star of the WWE Raw roster. These people have been released from 4 and 5 year deals in WWE. Something is definitely not right. Something is ultimately not right. Let me read the tracks. I keep ranting, don't I? Yeah, I admit wrestling is whack. No, I mean, not all wrestling, but WWE is definitely whack. It just doesn't sit well. I even said earlier on, I said, you know what? There's no wrestling on today. There's no wrestling on Wednesday at the moment. So I've got a free night to be able to say and do what I want. And I've ended up talking about wrestling again. So it just goes to show you guys what's actually happening within WWE right now. This is just a crazy thing at the moment. But I thought I'd bring people up to speed and give some thoughts and opinions on it myself, because people are going to be shocked at this. People really are going to be shocked at this decision. All right, Hilda, that's cool. But yeah, to answer your question, Prince Puma, if only, or King Puma, if only Jeff Hardy had been released, if only. You can only hope and pray from this moment. Can anyone vouch for King Puma? Because I've never seen him before. Maybe he was just searching YouTube for the subject. But shout out to you for passing by anyway. He's got 44 subscribers. And he put up a video a few days ago called Operation 1 Million. He's obviously a WWE fan. Even though he's clearly some kind of fan. I think he's a fan of like the Mexican wrestlers. Like, yeah, I'm seeing it now. Although he's got a video of Ultimate Warrior versus WCW. I think he's playing. Yeah, he's a WWE 2K player. Shout out to you, Puma. Keep playing on your games. Keep grinding away. I think that was him anyway. Yeah, that was him, yeah. But yeah, shout out to you, mate. I don't know who he is. Rex, short order coming in the next 2 weeks. Oh, what, the video? Yeah, man, that's cool. Just do it whenever you can. There's no rush on my side anyway. I'll watch it either way. I just can't believe it, guys. Like, I apologise for the rants and obviously not doing this formatted and not even coming into this with any information, but I literally went off YouTube earlier on. I told Sarah, I told other people that I'd be back online later on. I didn't think I'd be back online later on to talk about wrestling, but, you know, here we are. And I will be back online again as well, guys, probably within the next hour to do the gaming support and etc. But I just thought, because I didn't want that to get surrounded by me being in a negative mood, so I thought, you know what, I better go live before I go live to talk about the WWE thing, because this would have just ate me alive over the next couple of hours, because it would have done my head in. And this is coming from somebody who has heavily criticised Braun Strowman. I've heavily criticised Lana. I've never been a fan of Buddy Murphy. I've never been a fan of Ruby Riott. And I don't know much about Santana Garrett apart from her being in Impact Wrestling years ago. You know, good luck going back there, Santana, because the level of Impact Wrestling women now is high. But, you know, maybe you'll get a job back there, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, these wrestlers can get work in the future and they can go and work elsewhere. Like I said in the headline, guys, don't worry about that, because these wrestlers can definitely go and work elsewhere. They're not bad wrestlers. They're not people who deserve to not have a job. They're wrestlers that definitely deserve to be employed in professional wrestling at the moment. So as far as I'm concerned, they're just going to have to find work elsewhere, and maybe they can do what Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley did if they want to do that, and they can come back to WWE. Because you have to remember this, guys. Ask yourself this question, and I know that Bobby Lashley is in the best position of his career right now, so maybe he'd say something different. But go back a year and ask Bobby Lashley, and then go back 2 years and ask Drew McIntyre. If they would have if they would have left Impact and AEW would have already been a thing, would Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre be back in WWE, or would they have instantly been guys who AEW would have signed up? Because I can almost imagine Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre being two of the top stars in AEW at this point. If they'd have not gone back to WWE because they had no choice, because they wanted to actually get paid, because Impact probably wasn't paying them, and they actually wanted to work on a regular basis, and feel no way that they both ate garbage when they came back to WWE, because that's WWE's motto, isn't it? You need to eat crap before you become anything outside of that. And Stone Cold Steve Austin once said it, well, not Stone Cold, it was Steve Austin just said it, because he wasn't Stone Cold at the time, but he once said it, you know, if you are what you eat in wrestling. If they feed you nothing but crap, then you will become crap. If they feed you nothing but complacency, you will become complacent. That is what professional wrestling is. It's lazy people who think that the people that are watching their program are so caught up in their world that they will never complain about their watching. Well, some of us, unfortunately for WWE and for any other wrestling company out there, some of us are addicted to this sport, but we also are addicted to the negative side of the sport. And I chose a year and a half ago to come to YouTube so I could talk specifically about the negative side of this sport. Because for years, people have been telling me, oh, you should do radio, you should do podcasting, you should do YouTube, you should do this, because you've got a great opinion, and it's a very controversial opinion and outlook on professional wrestling. You're not one of these clown marks that just watch Impact or Ring of Honor because it's anti-WWE, because these companies are just as bad as WWE. And vice versa. And let's be fair, the amount of wrestlers that are on WWE now that were in Impact, you know, WWE fans are shameless with that stuff. And I shouldn't really get into a rant about the fans because it's not their fault. But they make me sick sometimes. Fans who buried AJ Styles 10 years ago. Fans who buried Robert Roode, buried James Storm, buried Samoa Joe, buried Lashley, buried MVP, buried Drew McIntyre, buried all of these guys that were in Impact Wrestling, Kurt Angle, Sting, all of them, and then watch these guys walk onto WWE TV and acted like 4-year-olds, screaming their heads off. Them fans make me sick. And don't get me wrong, I've been there before. I've been the guy telling all my friends when I was younger, when I finally got to see Hulk Hogan live in person, I'm going to boo the shit out of this politician. And of course, the moment that Hulk Hogan came out, I was like a 4-year-old almost in tears, wanting to shake hands with the fucking Hulkster. Because that's what happens. But I'm not afraid to admit that now. 10 years later, I'm still ashamed of myself for that. But you know what? I got caught up in the hype, and that's what happens. I'm not the only one who's ever done that. Sting was there, and it just, you know, it was a moment that I've told myself for nearly a decade at that point, if I ever get to meet Hulk Hogan, I'm going to tell him straight, you're a goddamn politician, and you're a goddamn fool. This was before all the racism stuff. This was because of all the WCW stuff from years before and the politicking and the burials of certain wrestlers. But you know what? When you're looking at it, it's like if I was on top of the wrestling profession, I probably would do exactly the same thing myself. And then there we are now in 2021, where guys can't even keep their jobs because, you know, some person behind the scenes has decided that Braun Strowman, after being featured as one of the heavyweight wrestlers over the last 3 or 4 years, is now no longer good enough to be in the WWE. Not just in the WWE main event, in the WWE full stop. I think I've got to stop this, guys. I'm going to be honest. I think I've got to stop the wrestling, especially WWE. How can we go from the way that we felt on Sunday with AEW to now? And you know what? And I'm going to say this now. Good luck in AEW and NWA and Impact to all of these wrestlers. These 6 wrestlers they will be certified stars anyway. You think, say, Buddy Murphy can't go on and be the Impact World Champion? You think, say, Braun Strowman can't go to AEW and be a star? Of course they can. AEW signing Mark Henry and The Big Show. It'll probably be on my on a different live, Hilda, but I'll see you when you get back. Take care. But yeah, I'm not even going to lie, guys, because I'm going to shut this down in a second. Because I am just going round in circles now, frustrated circles, where I keep talking about the same thing. So, I am going to end this. But you know what? To be truthful, I'm going to say this for a fact. WWE is a disgrace for what they have done to these wrestlers. You know, man. I can't wait to see Lana and Braun Strowman, you know, treated like damn royalty on AEW TV in the next 6 months. They're not like guys like, I'm not being rude, I haven't even got a problem with Sting and Christian and The Big Show and Mark. I haven't got a problem with those guys. But these are actual people that can go in there and give the next 3 or 4 years in their career, dedicate their life and their craft to becoming a star in AEW and making sure that WWE does not ever manage to get, back what they had before. Just imagine waking up this morning and realizing that you haven't even got a job no more, even though, like Lana, you've still got at least 2 years left of your contract. What the hell? But yeah, there's nothing more I can say at this point, guys. I am definitely just going to shut this down now, and I appreciate everyone for being here. Please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.